Hey, is this working? Hello.
Hello.
Yay!
Welcome to a pull request.
Didn't
We're very
see you
on
there.
brand tonight. This is our finale. I
Okay.
might say this again in about 5 minutes.
It's
We,
fine.
Times a charm.
It's totally fine. Previously on this show, and then I'm very off center, and that's off-putting. Previously on this wonderful show with this fantastic cast of characters and players, these familiars took over Barovia and Ravenloft itself. Squill the Squidling, Dottie the Dandelion, Mugen the Death Dog, Gale the Rat, and Pest the Pest. And dark secrets were discovered, such as the fact that Pest's own professor had actually been killing other pests in an effort to try to sever Strahd and others from the very existence of Ravenloft itself, and also use that magic explosion to sever familiars and all types of different things, like ways to escape Ravenloft by harnessing the power of a pest. You realized finally, after releasing several clones of Whittle, having talked to Death itself, because Death was upset that people had been, stealing bodies from Ravenloft and replacing them. You discovered this was mostly the work of the severed hand of Strahd von Zarovich, working in conjunction with the elder god Brain to find a way to leave Ravenloft and to wrest control and replace all the familiars in the universe with their own versions. So you find yourself on a grave, a very tall hill overlooking all of Barovia. And there are clones at this very moment, vampiric clones of Squirtle, all circling the town, seemingly getting ready to feast upon the denizens of Barovia, of this town. You are on top of a giant skeleton, some of you. Squirtle has her tentacles, just flailing about out of one of the eye sockets, as well as Dottie the Dandelion sticking out the other of this giant skeleton, I believe named Jib. I could be
Dog
wrong.
sticking its head out the car window.
Yes. There is a flying broom as well, and another smaller skeleton, which Eugenio is piloting. This skeleton on its
Simply less massive.
Less massive,
Fine.
dapper.
Kevin just has, his preferred way of dealing with this.
coat and tails, top
But
hat.
more graceful.
Exactly. He's real dapper though.
Dapper, graceful, better motor skills, probably.
And so these skeletons and these familiars are heading down the hill to go save the Barovians. What do you do?
So, anyone got a plan?
We did so well with our plan about the rats with their brains. I thought that would sort of, I was sort of hoping the rest of it would just sort of follow, but I don't think it's going to.
Oh, what were you gonna say, Moogie?
Oh, I was gonna say I thought the opposite happened where
Yeah.
our plan didn't work and we
Yes.
planned a lot of things. So
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't do that.
Well, that's a fair point. I meant insofar as like we're all still alive and the rats are no longer a threat to the plan, like sort of in very broad strokes,
Sure. All right, so that's the plan. We're gonna wing it. Yeah.
Honestly,
That's what we do
naming
best.
it is no different. Yes, that's what we do best. Exactly.
Gail's
Um,
gonna reach a tiny little paw over to Dottie for a little high. How do dandelions high five if I reach out for one?
Their little leaf.
Oh, okay. Gail's gonna go, I like the way this dandelion thinks.
I like the way I think too.
So not that I didn't love really getting in there, and Gail's gonna kind of shake himself off because he still has a bunch of little blood specks on him, I think, from last time.
Probably brains.
A little bit and he's gonna kind of try and angle it so the brains might go in the direction of Squiddle, just in case there's some little flecks, kind of like tossing a piece of popcorn at your friend at the movies, Not that I didn't love being able to really get in there in case Mugen needed help, but I'm thinking maybe this time I probably shouldn't get in as much danger.
Because I think since I've met you all, I've nearly died more times than ever before in my entire little life. So, is everyone cool if I kind of like play it a little stealthier this time?
Switching it up, I'd try a little bit of everything, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of hang in the back a bit.
Gil, if you want to hang out in the skeleton skull, to use as sort of a suit of armor. You want to sit here, and Squiddle's gonna crawl down and offer.
There
her
are a lot of
tentacles
skeleton
out.
rats also in the ribcage, aren't there? Yeah, Pest resurrected a bunch of skeleton rats. They're all covered in moss and fungus.
Yeah, I think there's 5 of them, but yeah.
Gale is not making eye contact with any of them, and every now and then you see him slide a paw up and do this so he doesn't have to look at them. It's very uncomfortable.
Just like, I just want to table talk real quick. Did Squiddle just did Squiddle invite Gale to be the like Voltron pilot of this mecha bone man? Okay, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm rolling into it. Is there a sword?
Gale, because Gale's been with Mugen this time, Gale's gonna look down and be like,
Moogie, are you gonna be okay if I go and get in the skull?
Yeah, should be fine. But maybe you can tell the big bone guy what to do, and then you can fight that way.
Okay, just stay safe, Mugen, okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
and Gale's gonna kind of run over and do a little like one of those little head nudge things and kind of like, I don't know. You know how like cats kind of press their forehead into you a little bit? He kind of does one of those little things, maybe at the base of one of Mugen's ears, and is going to jump off and scurry over to where Squiddle said he could get into the Voltron.
So, not to attempt to create a plan or anything, but where should we go next?
DM, do we have eyes on the closest Whittle clone? You're muted.
You absolutely do. Yeah, you see the moving in the shadows. You being Squiddle, you are very attuned to these weird kind of cloned creatures, and they seem to be skulking about. They're not attacking anyone. They seem to just be hunting through the shadows. And you've gotten to about the bottom of the hill. It's pretty late. Mostly the villagers haven't noticed anything wrong yet, but there is a ground fog that keeps on rising. And you feel kind of this dissonance as you get near Barovia. You felt it before. Certainly Barovia has always been a very creepy place, but something's deeply wrong here. And it feels not unlike the plague rats that attacked you.
Right, I'm just gonna come out and say it. We're all kind of tiny, and there's a lot going on here. I mean, what are we gonna do?
Well, Mugen's not tiny, right, Moogie?
I am a regular sized death dog. Yes.
Yes, regular size.
We could bite all of them, or use the big skull guy to smash them all up.
Oh, well, I mean, they're all clones of Whittle, right? And Whittle's you. So it's like you have your eye on the enemy. You're in their head. You know how they think. That kind of thing. What would work best against you? What would you not be expecting?
Clever.
The sun.
Okay, maybe
Well.
let's call that Plan B.
Right. No sun.
C?
Yeah,
D.
maybe like E.
F.
It's at that moment, the one that you've been tracking. It's horrifying. You see one of these Whittle clones, and they're almost entirely gnome, except for their arms and legs. They almost look like a spider, but their body and their head are the size of a gnome, Dampier. And their arms and legs are almost human-sized. So they just kind of spindly are moving towards the barbershop, the recently abandoned barbershop, Tweeny Sod's barbershop, who you ate his brains because he had been severing the heads off of victims in Barovia for some dark purpose, but mostly because it was easier to cut their hair if they didn't have a neck.
Sure.
The ambivalent barber of Barovia Street.
Yeah, I'm
I
kind
don't-
of glad I missed all that.
Yeah, Dottie would have
Oh.
loved it.
And you see it just kind of walk upside down, its head upside down, and its hands for its legs and its legs for its feet, and just walks over to the barber of Barovia's door and slowly opens it up and just kind of goes into the shadows.
Hey, Squidle, how come that one looks like not really like Whittle, sort of like a weird version of Whittle? Was the cloning process messed up, or is this something else going on?
That's a really good question because that is actually something you can do now that you have those powers. And I know it looks like kind of scary, but it's really just for mobility.
Yeah, this
they
is
can
more
get
of a
around a little
really
bit easier.
the cloning job hadn't finished, so most of them have an oddity or two. Like walrus.
So the ones that are
long
walking
fangs.
around like spiders, they're just spiders. They're not choosing to spider climb.
Oh no, they're just creepy. No, they've got spider climb, but physically they're very upsetting. They have the torso of a gnome and the limbs of a human being. That's how long they are. Imagine if a baby had human arms and legs.
Mhm.
Oh,
It was
fun.
awful before.
Yeah.
I got you there, but all of them are a little bit weird. Like a few of the Whittle clones, these Dampier clones, have like walrus teeth for fangs. Like no, Whittle didn't quite perfect the cloning process. That's been clear, and they weren't
Oh.
finished. So,
Hey, maybe can we get Jib to just crush the barbershop?
Crush?
Problem solved.
a crush.
Hey, Gail, can you command Jib to crush?
Excuse me. You're
Just one glowing red eye that's just floating in the ether turns at you.
hi.
And it's Pest. Pest is in it. Wait, no, Danny the Dandelions in one of the eye sockets, right? So it's just like
Yes.
Danny the Dandelion is framed by the red glowing eye behind her.
If it's not too much trouble, Jib, could you kindly smash that there barbershop?
And it just jumps and runs and pulls out a greatsword off its back and slams through the front wall of the barbershop. And you see the kind of the red and white barbershop pole just break off the front of the building and just start rolling down the street. And there's this massive gap in the front of the building now as just Jib keeps on just smashing and crushing the rest of the flesh that used to be on his bones, just cleaning away as he pummels the walls with his skeleton hands and forgets for a moment he has a great sword and then starts slamming it again and knocks down an entire wall. And the floor even cracks under Jib's weight.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we
And-
should probably
And the
buy
sword
one here the
absolutely looks like a
first time.
Voltron sword because it does.
You guys are really cool.
Should we just have Jib punch into the basement to make sure that the Whittle is all squished? I don't know.
Or
I
at the very
kinda-
least, it'll open a path down for us if there's something more, fine-tuned that requires attention.
Is Jib still smashing?
Jib is still smashing. Any perception
Right.
checks?
Oh, okay.
Am I using my nose?
You are.
Hey.
Get that advantage.
So 12 for Squiddle.
18.
10. Oh, goodness. Thank goodness. It's a 10 for pest.
Sorry, I only just rolled my first one because my dice roll really slowly. So how's everybody doing?
Is this still going?
Still going, yeah.
There it goes.
Oh, man.
Okay, so 11.
Okay, who had the
Dottie.
highest?
Dottie, by
With what?
far.
Oh, at 18.
Oh, with 18? You see 3 members of Barovia. There's a waitress holding a mug, standing in the middle of the street. There is an old man still in his nightgown and a little tiny hat standing right next to her. And then there is a very, very large, like bigger than Mugen dog with also just sitting there next to them, all 3 in the row watching you.
Well, hi. Are you guys okay? You should probably get out of here.
Everything's fine. We have it handled. You can go away now.
What? No. You don't have this handled. I can tell you that much for sure.
No, everything is fine. Please get rid of your giant skeleton. Thank you. We would like to go to bed and have naps.
Your nap is gonna be really long if you just do that. I mean, really long.
No, we're fine, tiny creatures. We would like you to leave now.
Well, I'd
And
like
bear
to
in mind
leave
at this
too.
moment, there's a giant skeleton with tentacles flailing out of one eye socket, a dandelion talking to them, and there are just a hurricane of skeletal rats in its belly. Gail's up there giving it orders, and there's also a very dapper skeleton named Kevin.
They seem very calm about it. And look, I understand Barovia is different, but
But still.
It's a lot.
I'm gonna order the broom to fly above this little group.
Okay.
Who's on the broom with me again? I know it's me. We're Squiddle. We were on the broom, or no? You were in the.
She's in an eye
No,
socket.
I'm in
Yeah.
the skeleton.
Okay, so it's just me. Okay, so I just kind of scoot down. I'm like, hi. So we're chasing some bad monsters, I guess, and we're just trying to save the town by breaking down that one building. You guys can go to sleep. You don't have to wait for us.
Please leave.
Are you evil? Because if you are, you have to tell me.
That's true, you do.
Everything is fine. Please go away. Stop your skeleton. And they start walking forwards towards the giant skeleton.
Whoa, hold up there. Hold up. You know, tell me your favorite color.
We have no favorite color.
All
And
right.
that right then, off the roof of the barber shop, the spindly clone with large claws and large legs just hops off and jumps on top of the old man and tears his throat out, and blood just sprays all over all of you in the skeleton. And the old man doesn't even scream. He just falls to the ground and cracks his head. And you just see this clone of Will, just like blood dripping down his mouth, just
Way to go, Clone 57.
and then you see it come out. The skull opens and an intellect devourer, a brain with tiny legs, crawls its way out the back of the head. You can't see the grossness of it, but you hear it as it pops its way back out looking for another host.
You see, it could always be worse. I could look like that.
Give me another perception check, Gail.
Okay.
Oh,
Again,
no.
again with the nose, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of you, actually. Eugenio, Pest doesn't seem to be able to be caught unawares at any moment.
Well, that's the second 2 I've rolled in a row for perception, so it's another 10, so perhaps he can.
natural 20, natural 20. That's a 26, natural 20.
Woo!
Okay, well, it's a natural 20, so you automatically succeed no matter what.
What did I succeed at?
Jib's doing a good job, and he's been smashing into this building, and the cobblestones are breaking away, and there's dust kind of rising around. And the floor starts bending and cracking. And it gives way. And you see everything that was left in the barbershop, all of those heads just kind of roll out of their cages.
Oh, no.
They don't rise up, they just roll down. But with your natural 20, you notice they've been emptied.
Oh, no.
And that's when you see it. In another room, next to where the barber did his work, is a makeshift massive brain tied together with twine from so many brains that the barber had been removing from his customers. And it's the loose shape of a human brain, and it's pulsing with weird greenish energy and mist, and tentacles have grown out of it, and it begins to rise up. And you hear in your heads, I said leave now.
Do I see this thing since I failed in my perception check?
Is mine.
Do I? Can I burn it with
You
fire?
see it? Oh, yeah,
Can I-
you
can
see
I kill
it.
Can I kill it with fire?
Gail's the first one to see that. Gail's like, that smells like brains. And then Gail's like,
Gail would know.
skulls, hollow skulls, something brains all tied together. That's weird. And then
We
it just
found
starts
that elder
climbing out.
brain that person was talking about.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. All right, team huddle. I know we're not. You go. Okay, guys. What if we just left? I mean, this place. It's a lost cause. I'm just saying. We could get out of here, start a new life, forget everything. You know, it could be really beautiful.
I love this idea. I do have one question. Do you know how to leave?
Oh, drat! I was hoping you guys knew.
Oh.
Now we've been trying to leave for 300 years.
We sort of succeeded briefly once, I think. We went somewhere else, down in the basement with Tommy when he was a toad, but didn't stick. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Dottie's gonna call out to the old man is dead, but there's still a woman and a dog, correct?
Yeah. And you start hearing screaming in the village.
Well, yeah.
Right, it's starting.
Also
Excuse
from
me,
us.
lady. You said you wanted us to leave. That's great. Can you tell us how to leave, and we'll get out of your hair? I promise.
She just draws a large sickle and starts walking towards you.
Right,
Well-
that's not the way I wanted to leave, but all
Nope.
right, we're gonna.
Funny enough that we won't actually leave through that method. We'll still be here.
And then another willow clone just jumps on top of her and starts devouring her. And her head is the size of a human head on a gnome body.
You a little bit begin to wonder who's on whose side.
All right. I just want to get this straight. We've got all these clones that look like abominations, and then we've got all these brains. And am I getting this right? That we're completely surrounded by all these things, and we have to take care of them, and we're just these little tiny familiars. What are we gonna do?
Have we
Yep.
decided as a
Fire.
group, do we think that the brain is worse than the clones? Because I feel like we could just make tell the clones there's a nice big snack over there. There's a big, Thanksgiving buffet just right over here, and maybe make some arrows. But that's only if we think that they're the lesser of the two evils.
And the two clones regard you, Mugen, as you speak. Hi, I don't know if you know me. I don't know me. I think you're my mom. You let us out. Let's out. That we looked into childbirth, and gross.
Okay.
And like you and the octopus lady, like, you let us out, so you must have made us. So, happy Mother's Day.
Mugen is delighted.
And
Oh.
several more clones gather. Like, I don't know what we did. If we got locked in a room, but we got out. We got out. We figured it was some kind of test, and we were slippery, and there was electricity and stuff, and we got out. And then we smelled bad people.
Oh, okay.
Which of you is our mom? Are you all our
Mm,
mom?
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day.
We are all your mom collectively. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It
Collect-
was
collective mom.
all your mom.
If you want to make us happy, you should eat all the bad little brains, eat the big bit, eat that big brain. It looks delicious, right? It's like a big steak.
Okay. That looks disgusting. Yeah, we could go ahead and start eating the brain. That sounds fine.
Gale is
Like
gonna
now?
turn. Gail's gonna turn to Pest while all of this is going on and go,
Oh my God, did you know it was Mother's Day? I am so embarrassed. I didn't
I
get them
feel-
anything.
Not a thing. I feel terrible about it. But it's different where I'm from. It's a different day, so maybe
It's a different
that's why I
day.
didn't. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's what I. Okay, we'll
Absolutely.
go.
No,
do
no,
you
no,
wanna
we're
go
fine. We'll
50-50
go
later?
after.
I'll sign my name on
Yes.
the card or something. We'll.
Completely
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, once we're done with this.
Yeah, of course.
Once you
Yes.
do that,
I
one
wonder-
of the
I wonder if
intellect
that's-
devourers disappears and teleports inside of one of the whittle clones' head.
No.
The lanky one.
Teleport?
I was afraid of that.
And you see its eyes just go white. And more intellect devourers are crawling out of the hole where the massive brain is. And you are in the middle of a war between those possessed by intellect devourers and the brains themselves and these clones, which think that you are mom.
New thought. We get the lovely clone children to keep the little brains off of us, and we blow up the big one.
All right.
Yeah, no, you should tell them. Or sorry, Pest, you should tell them. Eugenio's here too.
Just screaming, just running back and
Eugenio
forth up
just
and down
in
the streets of
corner,
Barovia,
just like
shrieking.
just holding it, like just shell shock.
And then this
Uh,
two-headed dog says my name, and I'm done.
Out.
I need you, Pest, in particular, to make it's gonna be rough. I need you to make an intelligence
Can't wait.
saving throw DC 12. As one of the
It's a
intellect
natural 20
devourers,
for a 25.
it does
Oh,
teleports right through Pest, goes "Ah!" and it realizes the intellect devourers they're not smart, but also they can't fit inside a Pest.
What did you think was going to happen there, friend?
I was going to take over your brain.
Very sweet of you. If you could get this anyway.
Okay, Pest, you should we should do that plan because that one almost caught you or
Oh,
squished you.
yes, of course.
Brains are
Oh.
bigger than you, but anyway.
Children. Oh, this is the beginning of Pest Mary Poppins phase. All right. Children.
Children.
Listen, mummies will take care of the great big one. Why don't you all make sure that the little ones don't disturb us in our work, all right?
Okay.
I'll
That
take
sounds
it.
like a good idea.
I'll take it.
However, Mugen, I need you to make an intelligence saving throw, DC 12.
Mugen's not very smart, so let's see what happens. Where's intelligence?
Since Mugen has two heads, does he get advantage?
twice the intelligence.
Oh, there.
Well, just twice the brains. I mean, like mass brain, like physical. Never mind.
Oh, I rolled a 16. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. No, you're fine. Everything's okay.
Oh boy.
You see another one try to hop into you, and you're not quite sure what would happen if one of them pops into you, a death dog that has two brains.
Probably wouldn't work.
We'll find out before the end of the evening. No, so you give me a persuasion check on all the clones.
Pest or
Whoever was trying to convince them the most.
Oh, Lord. I mean, I was the last to speak, but perhaps I'm not the most persuasive of the company. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, Dottie, tell them what
No.
to do.
I think you were doing a fine job. You just
all
keep
right, I'll do
going.
it. All right,
No,
all right. Can
we're
I at
all-
least have the assistance of my friends?
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't see a lot of confidence in the clone vampire army right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What are we doing? Persuasion.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey everyone, we're all their
Come
moms, so
on.
we're all
All right, it's a
responsible for them.
It's a 15.
And that was with the help action.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you to all of you.
Yep. They all start like hunting for brains. And
Great.
it's kind of touch and go. Once in a while, one grabs an actual villager, and you're like, no. Yeah, near miss. But yeah, all the people of Barovia start running and screaming and start getting pitchforks and torches, trying to defend themselves. And some of them are starting to attack the clones. Is there anything you do? Because the intellect devourers are kind of hard to see in the dark. The clones, rather obvious.
Oh.
Can I send Jib to demand that the townsfolk do not attack the clones? Or does
Wait. Okay, so you want to send a giant skeleton to demand the villagers of Barovia not attack a bunch of clone vampires. I want you to make a
Yes.
persuasion check at disadvantage.
Okay, it's a 14 and a 6.
Villagers of Barovia, do not fight the clones. This giant skeleton just, and that's jaw falls.
Why does he sound like Randy Savage?
He did. That's true. That's a good comparison. So can I just verify the current issue is that the intellect devourers are hard to see and the clones can't see them well.
Correct, verified.
I think I cast daylight,
Yes.
which is not actual sunlight, right?
Yeah.
Great. Then I cast daylight.
It
Perfect.
just set things on fire. I don't know. We're good at that.
It's true. We're very good
Squiddle's
at that.
good at that.
Is this concentration? Because if so, that's going to be... No, it's not. Huzzah. Yes. Okay.
Perfect. What does it do?
So a 60-foot radius sphere of light spreads out from a point I choose within range, which would be, I don't know, sort of wherever makes sense at the center of this war. The sphere is bright light and sheds dim light for an additional 60 feet. So bright light, 120-foot diameter, and then another 60 feet beyond that of dim. Oh, interesting. I can attach it to some object, but I don't think I want to do that because then someone will be able to mess with it.
Okay. So you like hit an alleyway and that's brimming with brains with claws, and they all start burning and smoking. The villagers all kind of figure out what's going on because the clones largely are leaving them alone. They're still panicked and mostly just running away at this point. But
Totally.
it is a pure horror show as you smell all these burning brains in the alleyway suddenly illuminated like it's daytime.
Yeah.
And the clones continue to fight off whatever villagers have been already acquired by the intellect devourers, or they start squishing and smashing the ones that are still running around. And a few of the clones do get grabbed by some of the intellect devourers. And so it's kind of a, west side, east side thing going on right now between the clones and themselves.
Love it.
Yeah.
Would
It's pandemonium.
At this point, would it be clear enough to Squiddle who is infected and who's not?
I think you're keenly aware of who's infected and who's not, because you are an expert at removing brains. And this is like a world war of just Jib is fighting, intellect devourers are flying around, clone vampires are running around Barovia, people are shooting pistols and shooting arrows, throwing torches, and dust is exploding around you. There's swarming rats inside of Jib, and this brain now has risen completely out of the village, out of the barber shop itself.
For the time being, I'm going to cast Thunderwave just to separate the intellect devourers, but also anyone in town who's trying to attack the clones. Just really trying to protect the clones.
Okay, perfect. I want.
But using a sculpt spell, so yeah, it doesn't hurt anyone.
Does anyone? So you effectively have an army. These clone vampires. Does anyone want to inspire them or rally them?
Oh.
Does anyone want to try to intimidate the intellect devourers that are in the fight? And does anyone want to manage the villagers?
I will intimidate with my growling and stomping.
With your growling and stomping, you are scary. Okay, you're terrifying to the intellect devourer because even if they get one of your heads, they don't fully win. So on its nose, they're kind of like not 100% on you.
Yeah, I also have my frightful presence thing too.
Oh yeah, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, so that's just I just like do it and then you roll wisdom saving throw against a 8 plus 9, 10, 11, unless it's 12, which is not a lot.
Oh god.
Oh wait, 12 and then charisma 13. Big difference.
They get a 5. And you rush up to a bunch of the intellect devourers and you shepherd them. you start just what you do to cattle. What is that thing? You're just start herding intellect devourers like you did before with the rats, but now they're just intellect devourers. So terrified of this death dog, you're like kind of scooping them into like areas. Are you like scooping them into the daylight itself?
Yes. And a fun fact about real life sheepdogs is the reason they're so good at herding is that the commands are to stop them from eating the sheep. They really want to eat the sheep. So when they hear a whistle, that's to go left and right. And like, okay, you do this and then you get to eat the sheep. They keep thinking they're going to eat the sheep eventually. And that's why they're being so scary and intimidating to the sheep. And that's why they're scared. So Mugen
that's the scariest thing in this entire show.
Mugen really wants to take like a big old bite out of these brains because out of maybe everything because it just seems kind of fun, but is holding back for the sake of the team. And I push them into the daylight.
Everyone roll initiative.
Yay!
Yeah. Based on the most recent Familiar Quest comic that some of us tweeted out tonight, apparently Pest has lips. So the first time it happened, Pest whistled at you, Mugen.
Perfect.
I've never been so uncomfortable by a series of words strung together than I am by Pest has lips.
Pest has lips, so he whistles at you.
I just needed you to know that.
I'll get you out of any
deeply
fight.
uncomfortable I am. I have advantage on initiative rolls, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, go ahead, take that.
Yeah. Let's just re-roll that real quick.
All right, everyone in?
Do you
Perfect.
believe
Mugen?
Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
I had 19.
Don't forget about Dottie.
You're
Just
rallying.
throw that out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
with
Dottie's
Dottie.
not in here. What Dottie get?
7.
Okay. You let me know what you want to do after the elder brain. Mugen, you continue to this. Do you want to you want to make an attack? This is the time to make an attack.
Yes, please. Am I close enough to?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, well, to intellect devourers, yes. You've been
okay. So I let go of the reins for a little bit to have a little taste. So I'm gonna do my bite multi attack.
Okay.
So let me roll that twice. Well, that's not great.
Oh,
Wow,
they're slippery. Yeah, you missed both.
I missed both. Incredible. I'm gonna just go ahead and burn my action surge. I'm not gonna use D&D. Yeah, I'm gonna use my roll dice. This is ridiculous. Okay, with my roll dice, I rolled 18, 19, 20, 21 total.
Okay, perfect.
Bite. I get to do it twice because it's a action surge. And then 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 probably doesn't hit. So I bite once, and that is a 7 damage.
You take a big bite out of one of them, and you bite one of its legs off just as it was about to teleport into one of the clones, and you chew on it.
Yay!
Pest.
Shake it about.
It just starts flailing like,
Oh, what are you doing? Stop. I can't walk properly with 3 hands. Why do you have 2 hands? Why do you have 2 hands?
2 heads are biting each side of it. Sorry. Gross.
Pest, what are you doing? You are standing on top of this cane, observing the battlefield.
Yeah. How? So the elder brain has risen.
Yes.
It has risen indeed. How high?
As
up
it rises,
is it?
one of the brains in the kind of netting that is holding it together,
No.
like kind of falls out.
Ew. Gross. How high up is it at this point?
It's about 5 feet up.
Oh,
Ground level.
amazing. Everything is great. Okay. So Pest looks around and sees that his friends seem to have, throughout our own uniqueness and style, have figured out how to deal with these intellect devourers, but that brain is still there. So Pest is going to sort of hop up on his tail, as he often does when he's spellcasting. And this strange sort of spectral, what looks like a little like sapling tree, begins to sort of grow out of Pest faster and faster. And I cast, what is the name of the spell? Guardian of Nature, I believe.
Oh my God.
Yes. Guardian of Nature. And I become sort of barky and little leaves sprout from the ends of my spines, but there is this enormous specter of an ancient oak that's not physically there, but sort of forms around Kevin and me. And a bunch of stuff happens. I gain 10 temporary points. My make con saves with advantage. My dex and wisdom based attack rolls are with advantage. And most importantly, the ground around me, within 15 feet of me, is now difficult terrain for my enemies.
Oh my God. Perfect.
So that's my bonus action. And then I'm going to throw an ice knife at the brain.
Perfect.
And we're going to do it at 2nd level.
And you hear in your heads, you can all leave. Go. Let this domain be mine.
You know, we've had so many offers to take this domain off of our hands. I think we'll keep it. And an ice knife shoots out of one of the branches at a 17 to hit.
That hits.
All right. It needs to make I believe it's dexterity saving throw for the cold damage. And in the meantime, it'll take...
What? It got a 19? I mean, it's not dexterous.
Man.
Yeah, it just kind of shuffles
Oh, man.
out of the way.
All right.
And
Well, it still takes 7 piercing damage as the knife hits it, but it manages to somehow avoid
the ice
cold
knife
damage.
does an incredible amount of damage. You notice this thing is not. This is not a normal elder brain. This is
Sure.
an elder brain a barber put together and is now inhabited
Really awful.
by the god brain. So
Yeah, really
your
bad.
damage is doubled.
Ooh, how exciting.
As like some of the netting splits and the ice explodes into the brain itself. It's like, you can all a tentacle goes up to the brain. I never had one of these before.
Yeah, how's that for you?
A brain freeze.
No.
Yep.
No.
Pest. And now what is Jib doing? Owner of Jib.
Well, Gale is still in Jib's head.
That's true.
So I am not going to command Jib to do anything at this time unless Gale wants to.
I think pretty much as we entered combat, Gale would have kind of looked over at Squiddle and kind of like braced himself and just nodded.
Attack!
And his tiny little paws are just kind of clutching onto whatever he can find purchase to try and brace himself for whatever Jib's about to do.
Okay, and Jib has a couple of things it can do. Jib is resistant to magic. It cannot be turned, and it can make 3 attacks with its great sword. I mean, you are in control of the jib.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Where
pretty
are you
cool.
on jib, by the way?
Gale or
Gale.
I'm inside because you're in one of the eye sockets, right?
And
Mhm.
Dottie's in the other.
Yeah. Gale is, gosh, I'm trying to picture the anatomy of a skeleton. I would assume, because I'm trying to picture, Gale definitely has like a line of sight on them. Would he be able to see them from within the skull? Is there a,
And there's a little crack in the skull, so you can be inside the skull. Yeah.
okay. I think he is kind of like hanging on to the inside of the nose cavity area. So he can like peek out if he needs to, but he can look up. And if there's a crack, that's how he's kind of still seeing Squiddle and Dottie. But that's because he's so tiny. I think that gives him, he's kind of bracing himself there.
Perfect. Okay. You have a +8 to hit. Do you just want me to roll?
I mean, works
Yes,
for me if
please.
it works for y'all, right?
Yeah.
How about you give me three d20 rolls and I'll do the damage.
Megan, do you want to roll since your dice are at a reasonable speed and mine?
Sure. You said 3d20s?
Yeah, +8. I mean, each one gets a +8.
Okay, so
That hits.
just the first one is 12. Sorry, I rolled all 3 together. So the first one is 12, the second one is 9, and the third one is 21.
All with +8.
Yep.
Okay.
If we're looking at them individually with that +8,
So armor class of 10. It sounds like all those hit. Was one
Uh,
below
not-
10?
Not the 9.
The
Not the 9.
second
Not
one
the
didn't
9.
hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right, and the damage. Oh, that's wrong. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. First damage is 16, 11, 17.
Dang.
It just starts slashing into the elder brain over and over again with its great sword. And all that damage is doubled as like more of the knitting starts breaking apart and like only green electricity is trying to keep it together.
Squiddle is totally taking like mental pictures of Gale, like controlling Jib so that she can paint Gale and Jib's portrait later on.
All right, Mugen, I need an intelligence saving throw 12.
uh, 19. That's with a +0, mind you.
Wow, no, you're great. Nope, you're fine. Dottie. Well, they're not gonna target you, Dottie. They're gonna try to target you, Squiddle. Make a DC 12.
Wait, do I have a turn separate from Jib as well?
You do.
Okay, cool. Whew.
Natural 1.
Oh my god. Squiddle, you are incapacitated, and there's an intellect devour on top of you, trying to pass into your brain pan.
You look super cool, Gale. What are you doing with it?
All right, it's the skeleton's turn. Eugenio, what do you have him do? Squiddle, we've skipped over you. I'm sorry.
Kevin should. I think Kevin is just there sort of being my roots. And if any intellect devours come within range of Kevin, he will attack them. So I guess he's readying an attack for any intellect devours that get near, that make it through the difficult terrain and get near.
Okay. Okay, he just starts attacking or not attacking.
Well, he's readying. So if an
Perfect,
intellect devourer comes within melee range, or like teleports on top of his head to try to get to me,
I
he'll
gotcha.
attack it.
I gotcha. So now the rats. Do you want any of the rats to do anything that are inside of Jib?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jib is sort of in the thick of things, so they can jump on out and just sort of, it's sort of all chaos at this point. So if they can, I think they're going to stick together to try and like take down intellect devourers as an
Perfect.
undead, moldy pack of cranium rats. Oh.
They managed to take down one of them.
Yeah.
Jeez. Just okay. 19 points of damage. Perfect.
Oh my God. Yes. Go.
Yeah, it's a nasty swarm of skeletons. Now we've got the elder brain, unfortunately, and it just kind of heaves itself forward as it's taking damage from all of you. I need intelligence saving throws from everybody. Anyone below a 14.
I think I automatically fail, right? Because I'm incapacitated.
Actually, no, I don't think that's how it works. Go ahead and roll. It's weird. It seems wrong, but everyone
who did not do good.
Yeah, anyone who failed gets 36 points of damage, and
36.
You're stunned.
Oh no! All right.
36.
I need to make a con save to see if 36 halved is 18. Oh no, I think I'm not a tree anymore. Oh yeah, no, I'm not a tree anymore.
Oh no.
So heartfelt. Thank you, DM. Oh,
You're
welcome. Oh, okay. Well, here we are.
Yeah, this isn't good. I have 14 hit points.
Yerp.
Well,
I got
it's a
50.
good thing that we leveled up before this episode.
would have been dead. Correct.
Yeah.
How long does stunned last? I don't remember. Is it until we?
I think
Do
it
you have to
depends on
save every turn?
Yeah, can we save on our turn or something?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Oh, that's something. Okay.
Yeah, and we're on Gale.
Are we? Or is it Dottie?
It's Dottie. You're right.
So Dottie is stunned. What can I do?
Well, on your save, you can make a save.
Okay. That's 17.
You save. You're back out of it.
Okay.
You did lose your. No. This is a wonky one. So if you save, you at the beginning of your turn, you can take your turn. This is not a fully fledged Elder Brain.
Okay. All right. So then would that be my action to get out of the stun?
No, you can still take an action.
Okay. Dottie is going to first, as an action, Dottie's going to cast Blade Ward on herself. So she's going to be like, I just need protection here. And she's going to cast Blade Ward, which will give me resistance, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage if anybody tries to attack. And then as a bonus action, Dottie is going to look at this Elder Brain.
Okay.
And just say,
Hey, you're not looking so hot there, are ya?
I'm feeling fine. And her brain falls out of where a mouth might be. And by the way, Squiddle, I need you to actually make a saving throw anyways, because I extended that to Penelope. I mean, Hope. God damn it. It finally happened. Dottie the Dandelion. It was only a matter of time. You can make a save. But what are you doing?
What's the save?
It's 12. You have to make an intelligence 12. And what else are you doing there?
Natural 20.
You pop up. You're like, no, I got this. And you like just tear the brain that's trying to enter your brain with your tentacles, and it just shreds apart. And you're like, you've been here before.
Just save some for later.
Perfect. Sorry, you may continue, Dottie.
So I'm casting Unsettling Words, which means I'm going to roll a Bardic Inspiration die. And instead of it being Bardic Inspiration, is now going to, the Elder Brain will now have to subtract the number that I get from its next roll.
Perfect.
Makes saving throw, makes on the next time. Okay, so that is going to be a D8. Sorry. D8, there we go.
And Gail, what are you doing?
Is it?
What'd you get? What'd you get?
It's an 8.
Oh, sweet. Like it looked like an 8 face. You were like, oh,
Oh, okay.
I got the max. Gail?
I would like to rage, please. I don't know what I have to do to rage since I'm incapacitated, though.
Go ahead and make a saving throw first.
What kind of saving throw am I doing?
It's intelligence.
What if I'm like not that intelligent though?
That really sucks.
You gotta
That,
try
like,
really hard.
Sucks for me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That sucks so hard.
I believe in you, Gail.
Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, I know it worked. It was an 18.
What? Oh
An
my
18 with a
god.
+0. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you pop out. You pop out. You're like, what are you dreaming about at this moment? As like just explosions are happening all over Barovia, just blood is flying, brains, all of it.
Gail's just like picturing playing fetch with Mugen and how great it's going to be once all of this is over and they can get back to being little best buddies. And Gail can only throw like wishbone size teeny tiny little bones for Mugen, but I think that's what fuels him, you know. And he's like,
Don't hurt my friends. And he like gets up and he's like,
Perfect. You rage.
and I would like to use my wild surge. Okay.
Okay.
We're remembering, very exciting, as my dice roll in slow motion. What did we get? Okay. I can teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space, and I can use this every turn as bonus action. Okay.
Perfect.
How far away am I from the big boo-boo baddie brain?
Oh, very close because the skeleton is wailing on it.
Cool. I would like to go. I guess like if the skeleton's wailing on it, I'm gonna teleport kind of like behind it to hit it from a different angle. I guess.
Well, you did. Okay, yeah. As part of your bone, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wild surge. Okay. And I'm gonna. Did breaking my incapacitation thing? I don't know what it's called. Did that count as my action? Can I?
No,
attack?
it did not. It
Okay.
did not. You're fine.
All right, I'm gonna do a little stabby stab then.
Okay, perfect. Go for it.
Or I'm gonna try. Fingers crossed. Don't mind me, just waiting for my dice to roll. 17 to hit.
17 hits.
Yay! Okay, so we are. That is. Okay, 8 damage plus 2 for raging plus 2 for duelist, 12 damage.
Crap. Okay. Yeah, you start slashing into it. And another one of the brains falls out of the netting.
So I have 2 attacks per action.
That is true.
I'm good to go. Okay. Tell me if this is too cheeky and I won't do it. You said another you said a little chunk of the brain fell out as I was doing it.
Yeah.
If I might, I would like when I'm trying to like stab another piece, like if I stab, instead of letting it fly anywhere, I'd like to try and flick it behind me so Squiddle can have a snack to like fuel up as we fight.
Oh god. Okay, you may.
Got a carb load.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Got
Okay.
a gray matter load.
I don't know if I have to like acrobatics it or whatever, but if Gale lands a little stab, he's gonna try and
Perfect.
throw a little snack back to
So go ahead and make an attack roll and an acrobatics check at the same
Okay.
time.
Okay. Let's see. trying to keep your energy up, Squiddle. You know, it's a long fight.
Yeah, thank you. I was feeling pretty hungry.
Okay, that's an 18 to hit.
Perfect. That
And
hits.
the acrobatics check is. I have to find out why this always rolls so slowly for me. Or I have to pull a Michelle and start using my own dice. 17 for the acrobatics check.
Okay, roll me some damage.
Okay. Okay, you hungry, Squiddle? Because I'm
Yes,
sending some
yes.
snacks your way. Seeming pretty likely. And for damage, that is 9 plus 2 plus 2, 13.
So 26 damage. Perfect. It's taking double damage on everything. And you toss the brain. Okay, how Squiddle, how do you get the brain? It's like how you
Squiddle's-
toss it, Gale, and how does Squiddle get it?
I would like to do a you know, in BioShock Infinite, Booker, catch every time Elizabeth throws something. That's basically what Gale's doing. Is he's like
Squirrel, catch.
and he's gonna kind of do like a stab, and as he's ripping it out of the big brain, instead of like ripping it out and just letting it toss over his shoulder, he kind of had like eyeballed where Squiddle was and like stabs and goes and tries to aim it like doing a trick shot in basketball or something, just
Perfect.
hoping for the best.
Gotcha.
This is the best game of dodgeball. I think
Yes.
Squiddle's levitating, and like as this piece of brain comes hurling at her, she just catches it with a tentacle and you can't see her mouth because it's under the tentacle.
Perfect. We are at the end of the round, but you did save. So is there another action you want to take, Squiddle? Since we did skip you.
Oh, is it my turn?
No, it's not your turn, but you did make your save. So we skipped that. So you can take one action.
There's a few squiddling actions I can attempt to do, but probably fail because it's a god brain. But I can try.
You can certainly try. What do you want to try to do?
Can I do a mind tickle?
Oh wow.
All right.
Wait, but is that each creature would be affected?
No. You can aim it towards the giant brain that's hovering above you.
Do it.
Okay, do it. So the god brain has to succeed on a DC 7 intelligence saving throw or take psychic damage and be stunned. But I don't know. Is
Hey,
that really gonna work against the god brain?
you do you.
I'm gonna try it anyways. If I have an action, I'll try it.
All right. So you are sending out a mind tickle, a miniature squiddling mind blast. What is the saving throw?
7 intelligence.
Ah, but you get a -8.
Oh shit! And I'm giving you disadvantage because it's a bad brain. So -8.
Mm-hmm.
Son of a 6 and an 8. It fails.
Yay.
Yes.
Show me. I know it's not dead. Just tell me what you do when you stun an elder brain as a gnome squiddling.
Squiddle is going to kill Bill this thing with a tentacle. And you just see her tentacle, like it looks like it's vibrating against the side of this god brain, and eventually just penetrates the brain and yanks out a few chunks and eats it.
What? Tell me about Mind Tickle. So it's stunned. It's on the ground. You're out of
Mhm.
combat. The brain just drops to the ground.
I can't believe that worked.
And it's like a really old beanbag chair. It's just lost the love. Its form and the tentacles are writhing. And it's stunned from your mental blast that just blast through brain after brain after brain. And you kind of see almost like circuit breakers exploding like you see during a lightning storm as each one of the brains erupts.
I didn't think that was going to work. How are the clones doing?
The clones are doing great. Well, so Mind Tickle, well, okay, that's it. So it's stunned. It's on the ground.
It takes 2d4 psychic damage and it's stunned until the end of its next turn.
Okay. So roll. It takes 2d4. Can you roll that?
So that's 4 altogether.
The elder brain's on the ground, and the intellect devourers just all take notice.
Yeah, you're messing with the wrong group of familiars.
We've run into other groups before.
But not like ours.
Mugen, what are you doing?
Who's talking if the thing is dead?
The little
The little
it
one.
sounded very deep, but it was a very deep intellect devourer.
Okay.
The rest of them were like,
I just run up to the closest devourer and I just bite it
okay.
and I get my other head, grabs the other side of it, and I just rip it apart.
Okay, perfect.
I'm trying to intimidate them again.
They're all running.
Okay, cool.
They're running like hell. They don't clearly this other brain isn't working out for them. They are moving quite precipitously. Pest, what are you doing?
So instinctually, I think at the start of the turn, so I've been this grand guardian of nature tree and then just sort of absolutely decimated, shrink back down, and like rebound back out, not as a guardian tree, but I'm gonna activate my, what's it called, my symbiotic entity, my spore druid wild shape. So I rebound back out. This halo of those black and green spores sort of starts to circle me. Most importantly, I get 32 temporary hit points.
Nice.
And I think that's my, well, that is my action. So I think that's just like rebounds back, engorges like that, and just how are we doing?
Jib, you don't, it's unopposed attack rolls. Do you want me to just so Jib keeps on slashing and you're inside? Well, you jumped out of Jib, but Jib's still attacking. And that is 70 points of damage.
Ooh.
Whoa.
He just starts stabbing into the elder brain. All right. Squirrel, you're back at the top.
All right. Since the brain is incapacitated still, right? Or stunned?
It is stunned, which makes you incapacitated. I have a bad feeling about this. What?
Silly question, but how does extract brain work on a brain that's already been extracted but is still sentient?
Wow.
It takes the brain.
What are the wordings on what's the word? What's this? Tell me what your ability is as a squibbling.
Well, for extract brain, it says if this damage reduces a target to 0 hit points, the squibbling kills the target by extracting and devouring its brain. So I guess we need to get it down to 0 hit points, then I can eat the brain.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's got a few hit points left. I'm going to burn it with fire.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Agonizer Scorcher at 4th level. That's going to be a dex save of 13.
Perfect.
And the damage is...
Does he fail or save?
He's like stunned right now, right?
Oh
yeah. It's a 1.
It's sleepy time.
So
25 points of damage.
How does the elder brain die?
As Squiddle scorches this thing with fire, using scope spell, carefully avoiding hitting her friends, you just smell like burnt brains, and then Squiddle just kind of douses the flame down and eats the brain. It's fried brains.
Like a fried marshmallow?
It's a delicacy because it's an elder brain. And Squiddle has never tasted brain like this before, and it's phenomenal. I recommend it to everybody.
Like
You
a
s-
chicken fried steak. Is that what's happening?
You start eating the brains up, and all the intellect devourers, all kind of in the distance, they all catch fire as well. One after the other, like little lights on the hill, in the road. You don't know where they are, and they just pop up, and you're suddenly surrounded almost by starlight all around Barovia. In the hills and the mountains, little things erupt into flame.
I think
There
I'm
were
glad we aren't
hundreds
seeing
of
that
them.
happen to those inside people's heads.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Boy.
A few of the clones just erupt, and flames burn out of their eyes, and they turn into almost like human jack-o'-lanterns and fall over dead.
You didn't deserve this life.
Okay, but also that's a cool ass way to go, don't you
It's
think?
pretty cool. It's pretty metal.
And the elder brain hisses and burns, and the netting goes away, and the tendrils twitch and also just kind of melt. What do you do?
Well, that was cool.
Welcome to Barovia, Dottie.
Did we beat them all?
I don't know.
Looks like it.
Are we done? Well,
Oh, almost certainly not.
yeah. But now we have a new family. That's exciting.
How many clones think that we are their moms?
Oh, like 13.
It's a big family.
That is the setup for an epic series of fantasy novels.
We're gonna have to get matching PJs for everyone.
Imagine the Christmas card photos.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Panoramas.
God,
All of
no,
us lined
please,
up
with
on
no
this
art.
case.
No art. No fan art.
Matching
No fan
pajamas, like
A bunch of
please make
vampiric
it happen.
gnomish half-baked clones all in pajamas for Christmas.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm not sleeping tonight. Yeah.
Nope.
like some of them aren't looking at the camera. Some of them are like don't want to be posing for a photo.
Perfect. Elder Brain's on fire.
Gail's just gonna stab it repeatedly. Like, even knowing that Squiddle has dealt this final blow, Gail is like not comfortable letting it sit and is just gonna be like,
Don't hurt my friends.
and is pew 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 pew.
Perfect. What are the rest of
Squiddle.
you doing?
Do we have any idea where this came from? Why it's here? Where? Do you know what I mean? Like this, I think we would have noticed.
Do an investigation check into the barbershop.
Sure. It's a 9.
You don't see anything. You don't know.
It just appeared here. I don't know how.
Can I make one as well?
Yeah, you can.
You feel like you're better at it than I am.
Probably not by much. 13.
Together, both of you are like, you find, you look in the back room where the elder brain came out of, and there are jars of brains that have been taken out of the severed heads. And there are more writings, not only between the barber, Tweenie Sod, and Strahd von Sarevich, but also between him talking to himself about the elder brain. How the elder brain needed a new body. And so he started
the God
stitching
brain.
brains.
Is that what he was talking about?
God brain from Bloodspur.
Uh-huh.
Needed a new extension, a new avatar. And so he started stitching the brains together and putting them inside a sack so that he can make a new elder brain, a new body for this elder god beneath Barovia.
What if we put all of the clones in the same vat? Can we just make one massive
What?
clone?
What? Is that what you got from that?
Yeah. I'm just taking notes from Tweenie. This is a
Takeaway.
a good experiment.
Smush
Everybody-
everything together.
Get ready to witness Squiddle's villain arc. I'm just taking notes from Tweenie.
Yeah.
I keep messing it up. I'm a giant clone.
Mega Squiddle.
Mega Squiddle.
What do you do with that information, Squiddle and Pest?
I mean, all right. So So Tweenie made it a body, but maybe I should stop looking for trouble where perhaps there isn't any. Do we feel, I mean, I don't know. I'm willing to be optimistic and assume that this mysterious god brain that can jump from form to form was probably defeated 12 seconds worth of combat. I'm sure that's happened.
Well, we don't see any more intellect devourers around here.
It's
And
true.
Tweenie Sod is dead.
Well, and to be fair, he didn't do much of his stitch job left something to be desired.
Strahd's hand turned into a normal human's hand.
True.
By all accounts, I don't really see much risk here. But
I suppose the only brain-related question that remains is, well, you.
me?
Yes, I mean, I know it's been a fraught few days, weeks, century. Time is a flat circle. But I believe there was a period where you weren't kin to the brain creatures, shall we say?
Yeah. So after the experiment went wrong, I started getting these cravings for brains. But I'm not evil.
So this no, of course not. I simply meant, was your transformation the product of whatever this same thing was? But it sounds like it predates it, so never mind.
I wonder if Whittle was working with Tweenie at all.
Now that's a possibility.
Because she didn't like to hang out at this bar a lot, and she did get a haircut here. She's very close friends with Tweenie.
It was terrible at the sewing, but the drinks and the haircuts were great as far as we could tell, except for the mullets. But then,
yeah, they keep coming back in style for some reason.
They don't. I think that's a Barovia thing, though. I think it's just part of the horror of this place.
And then you hear you hear this, and all of these villagers of Barovia start clapping. As you all have been talking out loud this entire time.
Fair enough.
And they'd look half horrified and confused. And an elderly man comes out. I don't really know what's going on here, but I get the impression that you've saved all of us.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. We did. And Gail, up in the giant skeleton head, she was commanding his name is Jib, to smash to smash everything. And you're not all infected, are you?
I think most people's heads just kind of exploded. For the ones that were.
Sorry about that. That must have been kind of awful to witness. Apologies.
Yeah. Sorry if
we
you had
live
any.
in Barovia, so it's
fair enough.
I'm 30 years old myself. I've seen many things.
So then I don't need to have my little moment talking about saving people in Barovia as a sort of
over
touchy
3 decades of horror and pain.
That's
life is pain.
Oh, this poor man. We should let the intellect of ours take him.
Does he have a mullet?
He doesn't. Sure.
A bleached mullet.
Definitely should have let the intellect of ours take him.
He's already gray at 30.
Well, it sounds like you were worried, and now you don't have to be, because we are definitely doing a good job at protecting Barovia. And we can't leave, so I guess we'll just stay here and keep fighting crime or whatever.
Okay,
Speaking of, no, go ahead.
No, we're used to the things that go bump in the night killing us. We're not used to the things that go bump in the night saving us.
What an excellent segue to my question. Who do you think is the lord of this land?
Well, we saw heraldry of someone named Whittle. Todd died hundreds of years ago.
Sure.
He used to be lord of these lands, but that was far before my time. It's been 7 generations since.
Oh, God.
Right. You're only 30 years old. Mm-hmm.
I'm so sad for these people. All right, great. Thanks. Just checking.
Well, Whittle's still standing on the castle, maybe. Do you think we should go check on them?
Yeah,
Yes.
we should go check on her because you know what? I think that maybe Whittle is my mom, and she's really mad that I forgot about Mother's Day, and that's why
Oh,
she was
not
giving me the
again.
cold shoulder.
So does that make her the grandmother of the you know what? Nope, we'll deal with that later.
So should we go back and talk to Whittle?
Do you take your skeleton army?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I definitely take Kevin.
Dottie, how are you doing?
Oh. Great.
Super stoked to be here.
Loving it.
Just living her best life.
Accepting everything.
Perfect. You can make your way back to the castle. And they start singing a Barovian song. It's supposed to be cheery and supposed to a little bit like the Who's from Whoville, but it's Barovian. So it's very sad. About that one time we almost had enough to eat. It's how thankful we were that our uncle became a werewolf and kept on living. This songs like that, but they're around the burning elder brain and they have their hands conjoined and they're just kind of making circles counterclockwise around it, thankful for the burning of the elder brain. As you leave Barovia.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Look, they already said that we did more than they ever expected those that go bump in the night, which let's admit we all know is us. So surely they won't be upset about us not helping with the rebuilding. This is more than they could have expected in the first place.
We're too small to build. You all are too small to build anything, I think. So they can do it.
Too.
Thumbs.
Totally too small.
I don't even have hands.
You get back to the castle, and the castle seems brighter, a little bit less dark. And you do see Whittle up there, still unmoving, but more blood has moved into their face. They seem like they're starting to wake up. But I want to know for the next few weeks, even beyond that, beyond what's happening with Whittle, like Whittle starts to slowly come out of their slumber. And it seems like they had been frozen by the elder brain itself. But what I'm curious about, now that you've taken over Barovia, what does that mean for each of your characters? What do you want? Do you try to escape Ravenloft? Do you determine to stay? How do you want to change things? Do you want to change things at all? Do you want to change yourselves? Do you want to become something else?
Dottie will start.
Yeah.
Toddy
I was going to do some hard
hatches a
drinking.
plan.
Dottie had a long think about everything that's happened and where she is and the fact that she can't leave. And she's accepting this fate as a calling because she brings cheer wherever she goes. And this place needs some cheer. And so Dottie hosts a live music night after hearing that horrible song every Friday to get these people some music lessons and play some great music and inspire and bring a little color and music to this world.
I can't wait to introduce you to Whittle because you know that's the same thing that she wanted to do all those years ago. And I think she's gotten a little jaded and gave up. I think she needs some motivation from Dottie.
Does Dottie start her own bar? Like, how do you manipulate things? Because, you know, familiar is weird, but dandelions are weirder. So what is the name of this place that you sing? Is it a club that you own, or is it
Oh,
a
yeah.
tavern that, okay, you own the tavern. What's the name of the tavern?
Oh gosh. We'll call it the Dottie Drinks a Lot.
I was going to go with Dollywood, but I appreciate it.
Dollywood.
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 Okay. You form this beautiful tavern. Everything is so dark and creepy that you find you get painted. You do have to find a villager. Most of the villagers you notice in Barovia kind of forget what happened over time. They kind of just forget the horrors. And so the history of everything becomes pretty muddled. But you do find like one young tavern keeper that you can kind of influence. And so he starts, the tavern gets built, it's painted. People start coming in to see this dandelion that can sing. It's preposterous, but there you are. Almost like you're like standing on top of a pot and you sing back and forth. And sometimes you play like maybe a little mandolin, maybe a little flute. And most people think that's just an illusion, a minor illusion, that it just moves when music is played to the beat. But it's your tavern. No one knows who the true owner of Dottie Drinks a Lot is. They suspect sometimes, but only the children do. Sometimes the children see something that the adults don't. But this is the one place in Barovia they feel safe and warm. Meagan.
I think after all this happens, I have a quick convo with Gail about our future here. Hey Gail,
Yeah.
I know we didn't mean to stay here forever, but I feel like I guess we can't leave or something. But I don't know, I kind of like it. Do you think you wanna stay with me here?
Moogie, I want to stay wherever you are. If you want to go home, I want to go home. If you want to stay here, then we're already home, because home is as long as we're together. So you just let me
Oh.
know what the next step is, and I'm right there with you.
Well, don't forget, home is also where your family is, and we're family, but we have all these kids now, I guess, collectively. So I think we should
Yeah.
stay.
You didn't tell me you were a mom, Moogie.
And
No,
Gail's gonna swat like a little paw onto one of Mugen's paws and go,
I have so many birthday presents and holiday presents, and I've been a very bad uncle. I haven't gotten them any gifts for anything. I got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, I guess we have a lot of time. So after this conversation, I think Mugen it takes a note from Dottie's sort of idea of making the town more interesting and fun. And now that we have so many people in our family with all of the clones, Mugen starts a like a sort of an interleague baseball team. With the clones and all of us and some villagers, and we tried to recruit more villagers by putting up posters in the tavern and kind of intramural events. So I feel like that's sort of what I'm in charge of, training people how to throw better, because that's my whole thing. And we stay and we can decide to stay in Barovia and enjoy my time with my new family.
And as time goes by, it's hard to say how much time goes by. Roses don't grow as often in Ravenloft anymore, as beautiful as they are and how sweet they smell. But the land is kind of taken over by dandelions. So anytime there's a warm day, they brighten yellow and there's a glow, and kids grab them and rub them on their faces and say like, oh, you like butter, weird things.
What?
And it was the thing. Seeds from the dandelions fly around, and more dandelions grow. Some of them are aware, and some of them you know. A curse does befall the land, but mostly to the evil people. A horrible virus spreads throughout Barovia. Lycanthropy. People catch suddenly become werewolves. Get bitten. And they do, but this often they hunt bad people. And once bit, every full moon, they grow 2 heads. 2 werewolf heads. And they protect the people of the land. They rush about on top of the city streets, on top of villages and houses, posing up a storm on top of temples and mausoleums, waiting for evil. And so these death dog lycanthropes, these Moogans, become the protectors of the land. And when people hear a howling, they're not afraid. They know definitely 2 heads are better than 1. Pest. What do you do?
Pest is real sort of restless the first few days after we're back. And after a few days, and it's not a big event that like he invites people to, but certainly if anyone were to pass through the courtyard, Pest has a little ceremony where he promotes Moth to commander of the courtyard insect brigade, and sort of leaves the care of the brigade in Moth's antenna. And goes into the castle and tries to figure out all kinds of things, I think. For so many years, he was his professor's familiar, and what they did was research. So that's sort of Pest's go-to. So he tries to maybe search, scour the castle for more evidence of what the professor might have been up to. And when that, sort of inevitably dead ends, then, searching more about this god brain that Tweenie Sod was working on. And when that ultimately deads, and just from project to project, research topic to topic, and just really restless, sort of stops showing up at our very large family dinners. And eventually one day, he just leaves a little note for his friends that says, "Don't worry, I'll be back." And makes his way into that awful laboratory, and sort of climbs up the table leg, and it takes a while, but eventually levers the cupboard open just enough to slip inside the dark cover where all of those horrible dead pests were. And he finds one that the lid is a little bit loose, and drops himself inside of the jar and spins himself into a little cocoon. And that's kind of where he stays for a while, figuring things out.
Gale, as time goes by, more and more rats arrive. This threat that had taken over the rats, that manipulate rats everywhere. Rats have always been misaligned and maligned. But they've heard stories of this brave rat, this barbarian rat, that fought off the hordes of twisted rats and defeated them, that saved rats in Barovia. And more of them come to the castle. And maybe you don't want it. Maybe you don't want them to believe in you. Maybe you don't want them to follow you. But they wait outside the doors, expecting you to lead them, to teach them what it means to be brave. And they've got tiny little makeshift swords. Some of them bring forks. Some of them only have old toothpicks. But they want to do what you do and what you've done. Protecting people and being brave.
I think maybe when the first like one or two rats show up, Gale starts building out another little nest like his in the courtyard to try and make a home for the new rat or rats that are interested. And the more that keep showing up, he very quickly develops plans for what is essentially a like somewhere between like a dorm and a retirement community for rats in terms of its amenities that it has in the courtyard of the castle. And he puts to work some little construction plans. So as more rats come in, he kind of tells them how to help build homes for more and more rats. He builds the Gilded Whiskers apartments. It's a complex in the courtyard that all of the rats now, as they show up, it is like you get room and board as long as you train. And if something ever happens, if a threat ever arises in Barovia, you understand that like you will call to arms, spring into action, and help defend the castle in exchange for the training and the room and board. And Gale starts working to teach these rats about how to fight for their friends, how to make the best out of every situation, and how to come up with excellent, thoughtful Mother's Day gifts after discovering that Mother's Day was a holiday you didn't realize you had to celebrate. And he passes down all of this knowledge to these little rats as he kind of trains the next generation in his little courtyard.
Perfect. Pest. Many years pass, maybe hundreds. And you feel cramped. You feel like you want to stretch. Do you emerge?
Not at first. There was a moment right before this feeling of cramped where it almost felt like I'd figured something out. And so when the cramped moment comes, I think like the little cocoon just sort of shakes and shudders and sways for a little while as like I try so hard to hold on to whatever that was. And eventually slowly, sort of as it continues to fade further and further away. Yeah. No real hurry, no sense of urgency, but yeah, I think so.
And what do you look like?
Not so different in many ways. The main part of my body is still kind of spiny and has a few more eyes than we would like, perhaps. But there are these two large wings that are coming out of his back, and there are these wild patterns on them that sort of almost seem to shift and change if you try and look at them too closely. But if you ask Pest, he will point out to you, and they'll sort of seem to stop moving for a moment. He'll point out to you where one of the little patterns looks kind of like a dog with two heads, and one of them kind of looks like a little mouse with a sewing needle, and a gnome with tentacles just everywhere, and a dandelion who just is sort of in front of this enormous sunrise shape, and sort of smiling. He's not beautiful by any sort of culturally normal standards or whatever nonsense, but he certainly is the pestiest pest he's ever been.
And when you wake up and you crawl out of your jar in your cocoon, you feel unusually tired, like you feel drained.
Yeah.
But you feel good.
Yeah.
And that's when you hear the glass break.
Mm.
And jar after jar after jar that was filled with dead pests have all cocoons, and little butterflies start emerging out of them. And they fly all around the room, swarming around you in the center, and many of them leave the window. And they very attracted to dandelions and like to just stand there for a moment. And they spread kind of the pollen from dandelion to dandelion. And the land isn't so well known. Certainly there are ravens in Ravenloft, but there are so many of these butterflies, these unusual butterflies, many ones that not everyone thinks are beautiful, but they are beautiful enough. And they're comfort. And sometimes there's so many in the sky that block the sun. Squiddle, what do you do with your time?
I think Squiddle is going to start a Squiddling Academy, where she teaches all 13 of their Squiddling clone children how to levitate and survival techniques, including extracting brains and eating them, how to paint. And she's created a coloring book with a rat inside of a giant skeleton, a two-headed death dog, a dandelion, and a pest. She has also started up a new restaurant called the Greasy Brain. It specializes in brains and butter. And she has figured out a way to clone brains in order to feed her giant squiddling family. And also spends a lot of time still carrying on the legacy of experimentation that Whittle passed along to her. And one of the first experiments that she does is she finds all of those clones of Whittle that perished in the Intellect Devourer War and puts them in one giant cloning vat together.
Perfect. It's unusual because there are not very many squiddlings out there. To make one, you have to, put a tadpole in a gnome's brain and hope for the best. But strangely enough, myths draw in tiny little nautiloid ships, one after another. Wayward, tiny little ships manned by gnome squiddlings from all over the multiverse start finding their way to Barovia and start landing around Castle Ravenloft, rejected by mind flayers and elder brains and rejected by anyone. But this castle has become a place where gnome squiddlings are safe. And so you have several of these ships all around the castle. And you teach them everything they need to know. And they don't feel like they're freaks amongst the Illithids anymore. They learn your ways. They learn to also be kind of the silent protectors. They can kind of detect who's lying or the criminals of the city. And they like the dandelions an awful lot. They're a little scared of the two-headed werewolves, but they maintain a safe distance. And they like to play with the rats most of all. And so Castle Ravenloft is filled with butterflies and squidlings and the occasional lycanthrope. Looks an awful lot like Mugen. And an army of rats. And then that day comes. Whittle wakes up. She's no longer under the spell. And I'll leave that to Meagan to talk about what Whittle does or doesn't do. But it's mainly about everyone who's here at this moment. And you almost feel a deep sigh as Whittle wakes up. And kind of everyone in Barovia wakes up. People start remembering you. They start remembering what happens. And you forgot that one thing happened several years ago. The sun rose. And there aren't mists anymore. It's Ravenloft. It's Barovia. But the mists around the land dissipate. You were so used to thinking you can never leave, but you stayed. You protected everyone. You did your best. And then the mists left. Not because you deserved it, because they couldn't hold on to any of you. And you changed the land because you are the land. And then a rocket ship erupts. You hear the sound of a squidling. You hear the sound of one of the squidling nautiloids start powering up in a very high-pitched voice. You see a weird robot gnome with a long blade and a gun climbing inside of that ship. And Willow is just watching it as the ship just kind of slowly takes off, hovers longingly over Castle Ravenloft, and shoots out into the sky. And you have the knowledge that you saved everyone in this realm, and that Ravenloft is no longer part of the domains of dread. It's part of all of you. And that's our show.
How did you make Ravenloft heartwarming?
Yeah.
That was so good. Thank you so much, Todd.
Well, let's go around the room. Thank you everyone for watching. It took a long time to
God.
get here. Hope LaVelle.
Whew, that was beautiful. I got chills, seriously. Hi, I'm Hope LaVelle. You can follow me on Twitter at the Hope LaVelle. I am a motion capture performer by day, and by night, I really enjoy playing some D&D.
Em.
Hi, I'm Emme Montgomery. I'm a voice actor, streamer, and obviously TTRPG player. You can follow along on Twitter and all social medias, including my stream at Negaoryx. That is Negaoryx. And you can catch me very soon guesting on Legends of the Multiverse with some familiar faces you might recognize. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun, and I love this cast and these characters so much. And this was such a great show. So thank you.
Thank you. Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Nguyen Bradley. You can find me on the internet at I am True Bunny. I am also a voice actor trying to be, and producer and tabletop role player. You can find me on some several shows. Just look at my Twitter. I said it all there. It's fine. And yeah, this has been really fun. I have never played a dog before, but it's been very rewarding in a very weird way. All my dog knowledge is finally coming to use. Yeah, and it was really fun. And I am so grateful to be part of this little group. It's been real weird, real nice.
Meagan.
This has been so much fun. I love this campaign so much. And, we don't take our characters very seriously, but the story kind of makes up for that. And this has just been a blast. I'm Meagan Kenreck. You can follow me on Twitter at Meagan Kenreck and stay up to date with all the latest happenings. Legends in the Multiverse just had their first episode stream last Wednesday. Episode 2 will be coming up this Wednesday. What is it? 4 May 4th at 5 p.m. And Todd did a very nice job tying the end of this story into that campaign. So thank you for that.
And last, definitely not least, and who has been engineering every show but this one, and who is just an absolute joy. And when I asked, I was like, who do you recommend? And people would bring up Eugenio. And I'd be like, okay, what do I need to know about Eugenio? And about 8 billion people said he's the best. Not one said anything else. Just the loveliest human you will ever meet. I don't lie about these things.
For doing this to me.
But that's what happened over and over again. I'm like, I'm getting sick of hearing about this person.
Fair enough.
So I finally got to work with Eugenio, and I am so happy. And I got to work with all of you, and you are all the loveliest human beings. And this has been weird and confusing and strange and almost like high school without jocks. But maybe it's adolescence. I don't know. It's middle school. But anyways, thank you all. And Eugenio, tell me about you.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you. Oh, gods. You can find me on the internet at DM Jazzy Hens. I'm taking a little bit of a hiatus from social media and streaming because I got some family stuff, some personal stuff to deal with. But I knew I wanted to be here for this one tonight. It was important, and I'm so glad that I was. Todd, thank you. The rest of you, thank you. Thanks. So yeah, follow me on Twitter. I'll be back. I've got another week that I'm gonna be away, sort of dealing with my own stuff, and then hopefully I'll be back. It's Monday, so next week. So follow me on Twitter. Keep an eye there to find out what's going on once I'm back to streaming.
All right, and thank you all for watching A Familiar Quest. I know it's been dramatic, it's been horrifying, and I know Ravenloft is oppressive, but no matter how dark things get, you can always make a difference. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
Night.